You've studied for years, memorized vocabulary, drilled grammar rules like a robot, read textbooks that told you what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. And yet, when someone looks you in the eye and asks, "So tell me about yourself," your mind goes blank. Dead air, silence. You feel stupid, you panic, you laugh it off, and later you beat yourself up. How is it possible to study a language for so long and still not be able to speak it? That question eats at you, doesn't it? You don't lack intelligence. You've worked hard, you followed every rule, you showed up. So what the hell is wrong? Let me tell you something most English teachers are too polite to say. The traditional method is broken, and deep down, you already know it. That textbook in your bag, it's not helping. That 500 new words for the TOEIC you just downloaded, it won't fix your mouth. Because real English, the kind that flows, that connects, that cuts through awkwardness, isn't found on page 143. It's found in pressure, in speed, in response, in voice. And that's why smart learners, the ones who actually get it, ditch the textbook after 3 months. They stop pretending. They stop following the rules. They break free. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to break your English barrier. Forever. Here's the brutal truth nobody told you. Studying English is not the same as training English. You can sit in front of a book for 10 years and still not be ready for a 5-minute conversation. Why? Because knowledge doesn't equal reflex. Learning English is like martial arts. If you only study the moves but never spar, you'll get destroyed in a real fight. You know the terms, you know the theory. But when it's go time, when you need to speak on instinct, you freeze. Here's the part that stings. It's not because you're bad at English. It's because you've trained wrong. You've trained to remember, not to react. Fluent speakers aren't better than you. They just practice differently. They don't obsess over word lists. They don't cry over grammar drills. They practice pressure. They chase discomfort. They don't wait to be ready. They throw themselves into the chaos and adapt. Because that's what speaking is. Controlled chaos. And your mind? It only becomes fluent when it's forced to move in real time. So here's your first move. Stop studying. Start responding. Watch a video in English. Pause it every 10 seconds and say something back. Anything. Doesn't matter if it's wrong. Doesn't matter if it sounds stupid. Get used to the rhythm of response. Because the moment you stop trying to be perfect is the moment you actually start learning. You're sitting in a coffee shop. Your friend introduces you to a native speaker. She smiles, says, "Nice to meet you." So what do? Your heart rate spikes. You look at her lips, but the words bounce around in your skull like a pinball machine. You know what to say, in theory. But your mouth? Dead. Your brain? Jammed. Your body? Frozen like a glitching robot. You feel it now, don't you? That heat rising in your face, that sinking, helpless shame. That inner voice screaming, "Why can't I just speak?" Let me be honest with you. It's not about vocabulary. It's not about grammar. It's about reflex. You haven't trained your English brain to fire under pressure. You've trained it to pause, doubt, translate. And translation kills fluency. When you hear English, your brain should snap, not search. That's why you must train like an athlete. You don't wait until you feel ready. You simulate the game until it feels like instinct. Start now. Out loud. Right now. Look around the room and describe everything in English. Even if it's broken. Even if it's weird. This table is dirty. I see a fan. The air smells like coffee. Sounds stupid? Good. That's the sound of progress. Because real fluency doesn't sound perfect. It sounds natural, and nature is messy. Here's what they don't tell you in class. Perfect pronunciation doesn't make you fluent. Confidence does. But here's the twist. Confidence isn't a feeling. It's a skill. And like any skill, it's trained. You think native speakers never mess up? You think they don't stumble, stutter, mix their tenses, say and like and you know every 5 seconds? They do, all the time. But they own their mistakes. They speak through them. That's the difference. You stop yourself before the mistake even happens. You hesitate. You rewind the sentence in your mind. You analyze it like a surgeon. And by the time you're ready to speak, the moment's gone. That's not speaking. That's paralysis. Here's your new rule. Stop chasing correctness. Start chasing flow. Let it be messy. Let it be wrong. Let it be real. Because fluency isn't clean. It's raw, unfiltered, emotion-packed. You're not here to sound like an English robot. You're here to sound like you, in English. So here's your mission today. Record yourself. No script, no plan, just talk. Say whatever comes to mind. Play it back, cringe, laugh, do it again tomorrow. You're not building perfection, you're building power. Let's burn this myth to the ground. The more words you know, the more fluent you'll be. Wrong. You don't need more words. You need to use the damn words you already know. You've got thousands stored in your head, but if they never come out of your mouth, what's the point? Real speakers don't have huge vocabularies. They just own the words they use. They say get 100 different ways. They use thing for literally everything. And guess what? Nobody cares, because they communicate. But you're sitting there obsessing over synonyms for improve, trying to find the perfect verb, afraid to say good because your textbook said it's too simple. That's the trap. You're training to impress, not to express, and that's why you freeze in real conversations. So here's your next move. Pick 50 words, just 50. Master them. Say them daily. Use them in real situations. Turn them into tools, not trophies, because fluency doesn't come from knowing more. It comes from doing more with less. And once you stop hiding behind fancy words, that's when your real voice starts to rise. Think about how babies learn. They don't start with grammar. They don't start with reading. They listen. They mimic. They play. Now think about you. You're sitting there hunched over a grammar workbook trying to memorize past perfect continuous, when you still can't answer a basic how's your day without panicking. Do you see the insanity? We've turned language, a living, breathing, emotional force, into a lifeless academic puzzle, and then we wonder why it doesn't stick. You were never meant to learn English like a subject. You were meant to absorb it like a habit, like breathing, like walking, like instinct. Here's how you start rewiring your brain today. Step 1. Start thinking in English no matter how broken it sounds in your head. Not translating. Thinking, I go store now, buy food, rain coming. Ugly? Maybe, but it's yours. It's real, and it's 10 times more powerful than any sentence you memorized from a textbook. Step 2. Kill the correct voice in your head. The one that judges your accent, that mocks your grammar, that whispers you sound stupid. You know what that voice is? It's your fear of being seen. Destroy it. Speak badly on purpose if you have to. Get loud, get messy, get free. Because the day you stop performing is the day you start transforming. Let me give it to you straight. English isn't learned. It's lived, and you've been living it wrong. Every time you rehearse your sentences silently, every time you nod instead of speaking, every time you avoid saying what you're thinking because you're afraid it's not perfect, you reinforce weakness. You teach your brain to hide. But here's what no teacher will tell you. Your mouth is a muscle. Your fluency lives in your face. If your lips aren't moving, you're not training. That's why silent learners stay silent. But the ones who break through, they speak out loud. Every day, alone, in the mirror, in the kitchen, on walks. They sound crazy, and then they sound fluent. So here's what you do next. Make noise. Read out loud. Mimic movie lines. Shout them. Whisper them. Overact them. Be the angry villain. Be the soft-spoken hero. Be the awkward nerd. You're not just learning a language, you're learning a voice. And voice isn't found in grammar books. Voice is built in motion, in sound, in rhythm, in breath. You want confidence? Don't wait for it. Create it. Force it into existence with your voice, your body, your energy. Because the truth is, confidence isn't a feeling, it's an action. And the more you act, the more fluent you become. Here's the dirty little secret fluent speakers won't admit. They make mistakes all the time. Wrong tenses. Broken sentences, words that don't exist. Doesn't matter, they just keep talking. Meanwhile you, sitting in your chair, biting your tongue, you wait for the right moment. You wait until your sentence is perfect. Your accent is clean, your words are lined up like soldiers. Guess what? That moment never comes. You're trying to win a game without ever stepping on the field. Real fluency is sloppy, fast, emotional. It's what happens when you stop thinking and just start reacting. It's not about control, it's about release. So let go, drop the pressure, speak even when you're unsure, especially when you're unsure. Because fluency isn't about what you know, it's about how willing you are to be seen trying. You want a mindset shift? Here, stop aiming to be the smartest person in the room. Start aiming to be the bravest. Speak first, speak wrong, speak anyway. Because in this world, the quiet learners get ignored, but the loud ones get fluent. You've probably heard this one before. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Cute advice, but let's get real. You are afraid because every time you open your mouth, there's risk. Risk of sounding dumb, risk of being judged, risk of proving to yourself that you're still not good enough. But here's the thing about fear. It's just untrained energy. It's not a stop sign. It's a signal. Fear means you're about to grow. Every fluent speaker you admire, they were terrified once too. They stuttered, they mumbled, they got laughed at, and then they did it again and again and again. Because that's what it takes, not talent, not luck, not the right method. Reps, thousands of ugly, awkward, frustrating reps, until one day your voice stops shaking. Until one day you laugh at your own mistakes instead of hiding from them. Until one day you walk into a conversation without planning your escape route. That's fluency, not flawless, fearless. So next time your voice cracks or your sentence collapses midair, don't shrink. Smile. You're in training. You're doing what 90% of learners are too scared to even attempt. And that makes you dangerous. You want to know why smart learners ditch textbooks after 3 months? Because they realize the textbook was never the goal. It was the cage. Sure, it teaches you about English, but it never teaches you how to live in English. It doesn't prepare you for the moment your boss throws a joke your way in the meeting and everyone laughs, except you. It doesn't prepare you for the date where the small talk suddenly turns deep and your brain scrambles for words that aren't in Unit 6. It doesn't prepare you for the job interview where one awkward silence can crush your shot. Textbooks don't train your mind. They train your memory. But fluent speakers, they train reflex, rhythm, reaction. They talk, they listen, they engage. So here's the truth. 3 months in, the smart ones toss the textbook because they're done pretending. They know what they need isn't in the next chapter. It's in the next conversation. And you? You're ready. You're here reading this because something inside you knows you've outgrown the classroom. You're not here to study English anymore. You're here to own it. So stop looking for permission. Stop asking if you're ready. You're already late to the party. Start speaking like you belong in the room. Because you do. Here's the raw, uncomfortable truth that changes everything. You're not stuck because your English is bad. You're stuck because you're still trying to speak perfectly. You hold back every word until it's polished, rehearsed, correct. But that's not communication, that's performance. And nobody connects with a performer. We connect with people, with energy, with mistakes, emotions, voice cracks, bad grammar, unfinished thoughts, the real stuff. Fluent speakers don't worry about how they sound. They focus on what they're saying. They speak from the gut. They lean in. They show up. And you've been hiding behind grammar, behind vocabulary, behind fear, but not anymore. Because once you speak enough to stop caring, you'll speak enough to finally feel free. So here's your final move. Speak even when your voice shakes. Speak when the words come out wrong. Speak when you don't know what to say. Speak anyway. Because real speakers don't wait for confidence. They earn it, one imperfect sentence at a time. And if you still think fluency is about being correct, you'll never get there. But if you're ready to sound human, not perfect, then you're ready to be heard.